Good evening, good afternoon, wherever we find ourselves in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting scene in Edessa, the Dark Crusade. Haha, you thought I was going to say darkness in Dublin. That's not how this works today. Haha!
Haha.
Um, haha.
Ha.
This evening's scene will find, excuse me, Irene Aguirre as she walks through the streets of Riverside towards the Silken Promise, the brothel and pleasure center known to be how would you say, the chosen abode of the Setite mystic Saladrin. Ooh. Sorry, I've been running all day. This is not my A game. Bear with me. Um, the easier than it has been recently with the character of Purview. You will see men and women cavorting in various different states of ecstasy and pleasure as you step through the doorway, hit by the heady smoke and aroma of perfume mixed with some intangible narcotic that seems to tease and twist the senses. A young man dressed in silken veils, his midriff exposed, clearly, shall we say, an individual of pleasure, shall walk towards you before bowing and saying in a thickly Turkish accent, and what is it that we may do for you this evening in Chatty?
Irene is as you know usual. I mean, I think she's been to this establishment once and was kind of grossed out. Today is no exception to that. She is wearing a dark cloak, but underneath it might be seen that she's wearing actual armor in dress form. Um, Not the most practical, but hey, vanity is a thing. And like something that you can conceal a little by wearing a very dark cloak, but not completely, is that there is a sword that she carries, and she will just look at this man's face. She will not linger down. She will not watch what he's wearing or what he's mostly not wearing. As she will say, "I would like to speak to Sir Saladrin, please."
He looks you up now and he says, Do you have an appointment with the master?
I do not.
Well, please follow me. May we offer you some refreshment?
No, thank you. I'm fine.
He will lead you upstairs, and then up another flight of stairs, third floor. This area was out of bounds when there was um, yes, was out of bounds when there was the gathering here, but it will lead you into a long room that clearly contains the entirety of the uppermost floor. This room is decorated with antiques, very old works of art and literature. You see a number of scrolls of papyrus that are laid out on a small reading table set off to the side. A number of scarab beetle brooches and old ritual blades sit on cushions just there, out of just there to look enjoyable. There are a number of carved statues of individuals with forked beards, very old, very everything reeks of age. Saladrin himself is seated cross-legged on a large cushion that is ever so slightly raised off the ground, so it almost forms a small dais. In front of him, there are two braziers that leak and bleed a very oddly scented purple incense that stains the air, the smoke, ever so slightly. It's a very heady sensation. You get the distinct impression everything in the room is designed to throw people off or to kind of make them off-centered ever so slightly. But there are a number of individuals here who are sitting, lazing, languishing, or just standing, wearing silver masks over their faces and black, with a black old tunic and black leather armor under black cloaks. And you see a number of blades glinting at belts and whatever else. But as you enter, Sullivan's eyes flick open from the serpentine contemplation as he will bow his head and say, Welcome to my humble establishment, Northern Star. A pleasure to see you again.
And Irene will curtsy politely. Sir Soladrin, it is a pleasure to be here. I am glad that you could, well, accept me while I am walking in without appointments.
Oh no, I would always make time for you. He will clap his hands together and another seat is brought to you to sit, so you're not standing. I assume that you have been offered refreshments.
Yes.
So, mm, the eye flicker ever so slightly and the candle light looks at you. You see the photon kind of flick in the air.
It's getting really bad now. I can barely make out what you're saying.
Is that better or worse?
It is slightly better.
Give me just a second, see if I can ramp it up. Ah, okay. There we go. That makes sense. Is that better or worse?
Um, it's basically sort of the same, so just continue and I'll let you know when I really can't understand you anymore.
Yeah. Sorry. Just I think I know what is wrong. I'm just seeing if I can rectify the situation because it's
Oh,
being weird.
this feels better.
There we go. That should help.
Yes, that does
Um,
help.
there was something running in the background, like a scan that was deciding, no, you
Uh,
will need all of your bandwidth. But he will say, I assume that you've been offered refreshments. Let me just think. What was I saying?
Mhm. She will nod. Yes, I have been offered indeed. And I mean, I don't think Solahadrin has ever seen Irene in her battle attire. But yeah, she doesn't look as dressed up as she usually is. Like her hair is simply pulled back with like simple in a simple way, not the elaborate noble way that she usually has. And yeah, like a dark cloak with the leather dress and sword at her side.
Hmm. So, why is it that you come to my home garbed for war, Miss Sagiris?
Not war, says Saladrin. I just returned from a task I had set upon myself.
Hmm. A task that involved the shedding of blood tonight.
Have you ever seen a noble lady walking by herself in the streets of Riverside?
Hmm. Hmm. No, that is fair. However, you are not a normal noble lady, if you will forgive my saying so.
I will take that as a compliment.
Hmm. I do hope that there is nothing of mm, irritation this evening.
Mm, not towards the Setites, kind sir.
Hmm. We shall speak in riddles then. Hmm. So, what is it that poor Salahadrin may do for the Lady Agiris then? He is more than happy to help in whatever way he can.
I am sure. I had no intention of speaking in riddles. My question for you is simple. You remember, of course, the Toreador festivities that were held several weeks ago.
Yes, Master Kyle, such a charming person,
Indeed,
such interesting artifacts.
indeed. I remember you saying that you could read whatever was on that tablet, and you were offering to share this information to anyone at the cost of a minor boon.
I was playing to the crowd, mostly in order to put a dog in a dog's place,
Hmm.
he says, smiling.
Well, let me be that dog then.
Hmm.
I have come to offer you a minor boon in exchange for this information.
Do you currently possess the tablet then, so I may read it?
I do not,
Hmm.
but with the knowledge that was on there and the importance of this tablet, I have no doubt that a great mind like yours was capable of holding on to it.
Before I begin, and I will begin, he stands up at this point, kind of walks around behind the brazier, letting the smoke waft through his fingers. Let me ask you a question. Do you know who Azor Amazda is?
It
Or
is
Ahura Amazda?
not a name that I am familiar with.
My. Well, something you should be familiar with. Azur Hamazda, in the ancient religion of Babylon, the first true faith of that empire, he was the supreme being, God, Yahweh, the Father of Christ, whatever name you'd wish to give him. He was the wise Lord, and I believe that that tablet, that small piece of black obsidian stone, is very much linked to him, or rather to his counterpart. Because where there is light, there must be darkness, no?
That is what is said.
Yes. You see, how to face this. Darkness plays a great part in the duality of good and evil. It is hmm, hmm, a concept that is linked to each one of us. For just as we must hide from the sun, so too we become personified or linked to the darkness. On that tablet, it spoke of a city not far from here. Solidrum will give it the name. Evan out of character, can't remember the bloody thing. Um,
That's fine. Irene would interrupt him slightly and says, would that happen to be a city completely created out of black obsidian?
hmm, hmm. I'm trying. I. It is a historical place, as in it does physically exist, and
Hmm.
I don't think out of character it's made of black obsidian.
Okay.
So he's going to say no, but feel free to have Chris change his statement because I don't think the city itself is made of obsidian or is made of black stone, but because it is a real life place, I remember that because I
Okay.
but he will shake his head for the time being, and he will say, "No, it's not. But on the tablet it spoke of an army that was coming to surround the city, and yet the writer spoke with no fear, because they had great protectors, things that could drive away an ocean of men. They did not need to know fear. Now, I ask you, what is it that does not, what is it that provides so much power that you do not need to fear the Legion?
I presume you have a theory about this.
Hmm.
Or was there more on the tablets?
The tablets spoke about how it is that they would come and how it is that they would be saved. But then again, that was not all the tablets spoke of. But then again, that was only part of the tablets. There are more pieces to the story.
I see.
However, you knew that already.
Did I?
Oh, yes. You looked at the tablet and knew at once what it was. I suspect it's because you have seen at least another piece of the puzzle.
I have seen one more of these for real.
Hmm. Now, you see, he will say as he retakes his seat, the tongue flicking, ever slightly tasting the air. He will say, "Now, how to phrase this? How to phrase this? Azura Mazda was worshipped in buildings that were called fire temples. Did you know that?
As I did not know the name, how could I have known what temples they would worship him in?
This I find it is best to never assume. But yes, fire temples, with an eternal flame that burned at its heart. Fascinating. Religion. A shame it has mostly died out now. But the tablet in question would date to when the Babylonians were at the height of their power. It was written in Farsi, or ancient Persian, you understand. Very few people can read that, but then again, my clan prides itself on their ability to speak old languages.
Fascinating.
Yes, yes, indeed. So, I believe on that tablet, in its myriad form, that someone wants so dreadfully. I believe that in that lost city, a very long time ago, someone opened a gate. They turned the key. And I believe that, well, I spoke to the prince about launching an expedition to go hither to that place in order to see with our own eyes what we might see. She was disinclined to give her support to this measure, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But mm, these things happen. Now, I'm curious, Miss Aegir or Lady Aegiris, where did you see the first of these wonderful pieces of black stone?
My sire took me on a journey, and at the end of the journey, we found one of these.
Hmm. And do you know what it said?
I do not,
Ah, hmm.
but I know what story is written on it.
And what story might that be?
Mm. There's always a price for knowledge. I am not used to bargaining,
Hmm.
but how about you and I will not talk of boons, but will exchange knowledge?
Boons are a method. They are not something I value. But yes, this is agreeable.
I do not know how many of these tablets there are, but what I have heard about these is that they tell the life story, a diary, of a certain entity known as Black Mary.
He makes that very audible growling noise in character.
Mhm.
Yes, that would seem to fit. It was written from a woman's perspective when I read it. Hmm, fascinating. I ponder, though, did you read the beginning, or did you find yourself somewhere in the middle of the story?
I could not say.
Well, I am a man who believes in fairness. My God is a just God, after all. Do you possess this piece, this objet d'art?
I do not, of course not. Would
Ah,
they leave such an powerful piece in the hands of someone who has barely become a neonate?
then your sire still possesses it, yes.
I would not know.
Well, I merely say that so all pieces brought together, not necessarily literally, that I would be happy to, with supervision, of course, write a proper translation. The devil, as they say, is quite often in the detail.
I could bring this suggestion to my sire, if you so wish.
I would be more than happy to serve the Prince of insert princedom name here.
Cimarron.
There we go.
However, I'm not quite sure if it would be the best of ideas to bring the story together.
Not physically, no. I believe these tablets still have power. I believe that if they were to ever be brought physically together, something may occur.
Yes, I am
Hmm.
quite certain of that.
But that is not to say that the information gathered cannot be gathered, mostly because the story has an ending, a last page, an epitaph. And I believe that this wisher washer woman, whatever she calls herself, if she is not the entity that's spoke of in these volumes as Black Mary, then she is wishing to follow in the footsteps of this individual. I merely wish to know where it was these footsteps led.
Mm. I am not entirely sure. But Black Mary is in the city and is a very real threat. And as much as I know the Slates hold power on their own, and as a group even more, the information itself might also be.
Solitron stands up and a he walks over to one of his shelves that contain his antiques, and he walks back with a mirror. And he holds the mirror up in front of Irene so that it catches her face. You can't see your reflection in the mirror, can you? Yeah.
Nope, La Sombra.
but he will gesture in that case one of his soldiers to walk over, who will do so. He will then remove his mask. You see, the average Arabian man, and he shows the his reflection in the mirror, and he then shatters the mirror on the ground. I mean, you could see a very expensive mirror, sad mirror. Um, but he shatters the mirror and says, "Sometimes they can be caught as if trapped beneath the surface. And then, if something is broken, it can only be freed again."
Perhaps so. I know my sire has been hunting Black Mary for quite some time. If there's anyone who has the information that you seek, it is him.
Hmm.
If you wish, I could try and arrange a meeting.
Yes, extend my best wishes to the Prince of Tiran, and say that if he wishes what he has translated, I would be more than happy to be at his service.
I I will formulate the words somewhat different, but since I am not sure, actually I'm quite sure he must not have the tablet with him.
Ultimately, there are two pieces in play, but I do not believe that Giles possesses the second one anymore.
Sorry, you were breaking up again.
Oh, he says, but I do not believe Giles possesses the second part of the puzzle anymore.
You think the tablet is gone?
Yes,
I may hope that it is gone only to be safe kept further.
I have no doubt. However, I contemplate, when faced with this black Mary, where he is truly safe.
This is true. Even the palace of the prince itself was not enough to protect the third piece that I know of. Our enemies have at least one of these slates in their possession. It is not just Black Mary who is after these.
No, there is a cult here in this city. But then again, I do not believe that the cult and Black Mary are necessarily the same entity.
I am quite sure that they are not. This cult that you're speaking of is part of what the group with the wishing woman. I
Ah,
presume we're
yes.
talking of the same group.
Yes, we are.
Mm. They are not a group. Well, they are a group, yet they are not.
Hmm.
They all have different end goals. They just walk together part of the way.
Hmm. Hmm. Very well. It would seem as though we have a common purpose.
Does that surprise you?
No, not at all.
Mm.
I believe that when the time comes, when it is that all mysteries are laid bare, when it is that under bloodlit moon we stand, I believe you will be the deciding factor of this tale, Miss Agiris.
Me?
Yes,
I doubt that. But humor me.
fate seems to have chosen you as its instrument.
Irene's hand will go up to a cross that's hanging around her neck. By the way, that cross will give you an uncomfortable feeling, as it is sort of it has a true fate score.
Mhm. It won't he's far enough away, it won't drive him back, but yes.
I'm pretty sure he's not driven back by it but I'm pretty sure it won't be very pleasant either.
Mhm.
Faith. There are many forms of faith.
My clan are united in the absolute certainty of our faith, Miss Agiris. We all walk the path that we were given by Set himself. That's our belief. But you, you seem to be fate's implement. First, you find one of these tablets with your sire. Then you plead so passionately for the second one from Master Giles. I have an excellent memory, Miss Agiris.
Hmm. There are situations that simple etiquette will not do.
Oh no, I quite understand. But you also must understand in the same way I told Lady Madeline. My clan will crush this sect out of existence. It will have these cultists put to the torch. It will render them down to nothing, because in their belief they question Set's mastery, and frankly, we cannot allow that.
Then you know of the location of these cults.
So, not directly, but if I chose to reach out my hand, I could find them.
Then I suggest you find them soon, because there are still 3 locations in this city that we do not know its existence of, and time is running out.
Hmm. Three. How do you know that 3 locations as yet remain?
Because I found one.
How did that particular path lead?
In nights to come, and I am not sure how much time there is still left. Out of 4 areas in the city, fire will rise into the heavens. Black smoke will come forth, and creatures will, well, launch an attack on the city. One of these locations is here in Riverside. The other ones I do not know.
We will make our preparations. And the Setites are very good at fighting for what it is we believe to be ours. You know the location of the one here in Riverside.
Yes,
Then why is it we do not simply snuff it out?
it's guarded.
Many things have guards.
I am well
I,
aware.
I assume you mean by something more extraordinary.
Indeed.
Hmm, I see. What is the nature of this guardian?
I can only assume it's infernal.
Yes, a fair assumption. If you let us. Hmm. It is in Riverside. It threatens us. It threatens what we hold. So, if you will tell us where it is, we will destroy it. I have a very straightforward mindset when it comes to things like this.
This information still needs to go to the prince and the
Of course,
seneschal.
of course. I have no doubt. But you are indeed correct. To answer the question asked, this cult requires odd items and objets in order to perform their rituals. Old rites, you understand, require odd essentials. These essentials can't be tracked. One knows how it is to track them. However, It's interesting that they have been able to interact with the flow of these odd items for so long without being seen. I am one such individual who can see them. The others, and I will point out that I was not looking up until now because I did not think that there was a threat up until now. But there are other clans in this city much more diligent when it comes to these observations. And I question how was it that they did not see it before now? Were they blind or turning a blind eye? He shrugs.
Well, these are assumptions that I cannot fill in. I have no answers to that.
No. I am merely pointing out that you should be very careful in whom it is you place your trust.
At this point, trust in my fellow Knights is, shall I say, least of problems.
Hmm. Yes. 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 But in this matter, you are correct. These infernal holes should be filled in, the ground re-sanctified, the remains spread and dusted to the wind.
A friend of mine told me on many occasions to never trust the Setites.
He contemplates and he said, and that friend was either blessed with ignorance or blessed with wisdom.
I doubt that, since he was a follower of Set himself.
Then, I assure you, Lady Agios, he was doubly blessed. But yes, tell the prince and tell the seneschal of what you have learned. See it is how it is we shall dance, because soon, unfortunately, we will be forced to dance to a tune not of our making.
We've been dancing that for quite some time.
Indeed. In that case, I shall bid you good evening, Lady Agiris.
Yes. Good evening to you, Sir Saladrin.
May footsteps ever be found in the palest of moon shadows.
Irene will curtsy. And yeah, we'll happily leave this establishment.
Solidrine will stand as just as you leave, and he'll kind of let his hand waft over a candle, catching its smoke before he says, "And so it is. How interesting." And with that, we shall end our scene.